Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you in another video. All right, so Lakers. Patrick Beverley has made it clear to us that he can't wait to see us. We got 2 games against his Chicago Bulls head coming up, a back-to-back, and his whole purpose is to try to knock us out of the playoffs and assure that his team has an opportunity to make the playoffs. He thinks those 2 games are very pivotal in both of those situations, and he wants to stop us. Now, I understand that none of us really look at him as a threat as it pertains to what we got going on. He may not even play much in those games, to be honest with you. But nevertheless, we gotta take that as bulletin board material and continue to see what it is that our mission is, which is to win all of these games. If we're gonna reach our ultimate goal, we should not only be thinking about making the playoffs, but we should be trying to position ourselves to have the best possible path. Now, granted, we're not in a position to control any of that right now. Beggars can't be choosers. But at the same time, I look around and I say that's half of us. That's just about everybody in the playoff mix right now. We're all in that same spot. Everybody's 3 or 4 games away from 4th place or 13th place. It just is what it is. So I think that, when listening to people talk about our roster, a lot of people are excited about what we can do. And they're saying that there's a lot of improvements to consider in regards to the roster. What we're going to be doing statistically should all go up and up and up and up and up. But the one thing that I understand, that I fully understand, that I think a lot of people may, but some may not, is that those numbers are skewed by the fact that Russell Westbrook, yes, Russell Westbrook, did a lot for our team in those areas. Statistically, a lot of what we did in volume was because of how he attacked and how often he attacked, chasing his stats and chasing what it is that helped others by getting plays made off to others and getting quick dimes off to others and getting to the line constantly and things of that nature. It made for a lot of what we see in our statistics. Now, granted, we always want to count the things that he didn't do right, which is absolutely fair. But we got to always remember, because of the pace in which he attacked and because of how much he accumulated, even in games where we didn't win, you look at his stats off the bench and he had almost a triple-double. Big rebounds, big assists. Those big assists means that he was getting other people the ball at a certain rate. They were efficient because he was getting them the ball in those situations. When we're taking into account what our team is going to be, do we know where that velocity is going to be coming from? Now, you may be able to get those same assists, but are they going to come as quick? Are they going to come per possession in such a way that makes it so that everybody else's numbers make sense? These are the type of things we have to understand. It's like, yeah, D'Angelo Russell may get those 8 assists, but they're like 10 less possessions because Brody was moving twice as fast. So these are the type of things we got to understand. It's like, I don't think our team is worse by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not going to sit here and say that because that's just stupid. But I don't think that we're as great as we think we are based on the need to make the adjustment per possession from what we were to what we're about to be. Because you just don't have that twice as fast, so to speak, person on your bench getting everybody the ball and making your pace go a certain way. So we're going to have to make up for that somehow, and I'm pretty sure it won't be difficult to do. But the key is to lean in on the new guys' strengths and the old guys' strengths in this new system with the new guys. I hope you're following me. It's like we got to learn who everybody is. We got to snap out of the old stuff and get with the new stuff rather quickly. For example, if Russell Westbrook was getting us 8 rebounds and 8 assists on a good night, that means he did well. For us on this team, that's the equivalent of Vanderbilt getting 3 blocks and 2 steals or something like that, or Malik Beasley getting, shooting 48% from the 3 on high volume, or, you know what I mean? It looks different. But if it's involved, if it's providing that production, it will help you just the same as Brody's production did, albeit in a different way. It'll still contribute and then provide what you need in order to help you win. So we'll just have to get used to what the new team is, what they do, and how we can win doing what it is that they do. And it should be easier to do because it's more traditional. You know, Brody provided so much in the other direction that kind of had to be taken into account. And that too will definitely be something that we understand as we watch these games. So, you know, I'm watching everybody be very excited about the Lakers. I'm excited about our roster too. But I don't know if I have us winning the championship based on how difficult the field is. So it's going to be incumbent upon our guys to, of course, you know, to play through injury, of course, or be as healthy as possible. And to, for our coach to put the right rotations on the floor, as we mention all the time. And then from there, guys buying into what it is that we're doing as a unit and just getting lucky in some cases, hitting free throws, shooting high efficiency from behind the arc, you know, getting the calls. Hopefully we can get those. Some of these things are going to be outside of our control. And the reason why that is because we just simply already lost the games that we could afford to lose. That's what it really comes down to. You already lost those games. You already let those go. So you got to try to be without any margin for error. Essentially, that's how you got to look at yourself. If you're the LA Lakers, and I'm a believer, man. I'm a believer in that the roster itself is a fitting roster for what it is that it needs to accomplish. I look at the teams that we have left, and I say I think there's a good chance we can meet our goal if we focus on every game and meet our potential in each matchup. We should get the wins that put us in a position to seal a playoff berth. Now, what happens once you get there? Probably run into Phoenix, probably run into one of those top teams. But that's just the game we play. You know, we didn't do our job to assure we were one of those top teams. So as a result, if you're making the playoffs, you're going to have to face one of them. And it just is what it is. The competition is high when you're trying to win a championship, and that's exactly what we're here to do. So that's what I'm hoping the Lakers have their mind set on doing. Not coming in here just, you know, trying to get to a point where they've, you know, made the playoffs and been cool. You got to not only be able to exert as much energy as it takes to make the playoffs, but then have enough to get you as far as you're going to go there. So I think that's something that the Lakers should not let leave their mind as they're making this push in these last 23 games. The goal is not to win 23 games. The goal is get to the playoffs and then do damage when you get there and win a championship for LeBron James and Anthony Davis's fifth year, tenure, or however many years it is in total. So, you know, I don't imagine we're without excuses with a rookie coach and a second half team that's made, you know, changes to itself, almost half the squad. We got excuses for if it doesn't work out. But I don't think it's about that. It's about seizing the moment and getting a championship without knowing how many years LeBron James has left to play. And so whether you have an excuse or not, that's irrelevant really when you're considering what you're trying to do. You got to win right now and seize the moment and give him the best opportunity at that championship. So let that not leave our mind as other teams are also going after the same thing with probably more time left to capture it, which is why we need to have more urgency than any of them. You know, with the exception of the Phoenix Suns and Chris Paul, you know, I can't think of another team that's running out of time more so than us. Obviously, the Clippers are an older squad, but, you know, the urgency's there. Teams are going to go after it. And so we can always say we'll come back next year and retool even better, but who's to say these guys are going to be any more healthy? Who's to say guys are going to re-sign? Who's to say the team's going to be the same in any way? So this is the year. This is the year where we know we have made the changes in the second half of the season. We expected that we would need to make changes. It's not like we didn't know a trade was coming. We expected this. We knew this. And we knew that we would have to gel in time to make the playoffs. We probably knew we weren't going to be a very good team because our roster wasn't very good to begin with. So all of this was foreseeable and should have been planned for. And now we need to do what it is that we knew was going to happen. was going to have to be done, which is, make the playoffs with a new team. And it would have been great if we didn't lose as many games as we did. Scheduled losses and bad, just horrible close game losses where we could have done better. But at the end of the day, you learn from those mistakes. And if you are studying what you did wrong in those situations, then chances are you're better for them. You won't make those mistakes going forward. So that's going to be key. Can we win close games? Can we identify what our deficiencies for this new unit will be and patch those up just as quickly as we patched up the ones from the previous unit? Because I think that's where we can say we prided ourselves. For all the chemistry issues that were reported, for all the different deficiencies that this team had leading up to this point, one thing that unit was good at was identifying its issues and fixing it. Bad three-point shooting team, cool, we shoot less. Need to rebound more, we did that. Need to get better at the free throw line, team improved some. This team does address its weaknesses. And so that's what I want to see, is this team with new players, younger guys, going to keep that same trait? Is Darvin going to be able to keep that mantra, so to speak, in this in-house and keep these guys believing in improvements? And if so, will it translate the same way? As this team, of course, found itself dropping 10 games to start the season and then was able to find itself basically close to 500, having pulled itself out of that hole, so to speak. So I think that was a great trade for a Darvin Ham led team to say, this is what Darvin teams can do. And I think when you talk about, what you expect your team to do, you think about that, considering that it has this pressure to do what it has to do in winning these 23 games or as many as possible. You consider how it pulled itself out of this hole. You consider the fact that it's been able to face certain adversity. You consider the fact that they were able to get guys to buy in early on into a situation that really wasn't fully up to par. But, we got a lot done, and that's why we're in a position to make the playoffs rather than completely out of it. So, all that you take into account, if guys are studying and doing their due diligence in practice, I think that should translate to them being happy with what they see. I think it should translate to them having an opportunity to make the playoffs for real and do damage when they get there. So that's what I'm hopeful the Los Angeles Lakers will give their all in regards to. There are players on this team that obviously we talked about not going to get as much playing time as they got in the first half of the season. It's a new roster. You're not going to be leaned on the same way, and that's okay. Maybe not for your own personal goals, but for the betterment of the team. We just got to be willing to sacrifice where necessary and expect volatility in the rotations. It just is what it is. There are guys worthy of getting playing time that just aren't going to get the playing time. So that means guys have less of a rope to make mistakes. You cannot, necessarily do as much and expect to be able to see your playing time stay the same. You gotta play well. So that pressure, on top of the other pressure, on top of just being a Laker, it's immense. And I suspect the guys who succeed with that pressure will ultimately make a lot of money here and be able to be successful Lakers. But those who don't, they're gonna move along because it's not for everybody. So Bron, he said that, his finger is fine. So we're going to believe that. And hopefully he'll be ready for Thursday. Obviously, he played an all-star game very briefly because of that finger. But, having missed a couple games leading up to the all-star break, the foot injury and all of that, I'm wondering if it's in a space where he can feel real good about it. Because we're going to need him. We're going to need him. I mean, it's not deeper than that. He needs to be a very good level of himself in order for us to have any shot at doing what it is we want to accomplish here. Anthony Davis, same thing, obviously. We just need our core to be able to make it through the duration of this season and playoffs. It's not just the 23 games, and so that's what the Lakers need to be able to respect. They've brought in enough depth to allow these guys to take games off, in theory. So we're going to have to respect that that's probably going to take place. Even though we have this going on, We're going to need the guys that are in place, whether they're new or old, whether Brown's on the floor or not, to find a way to be productive and take every possession seriously. And as we learn about the new team, we'll address those tendencies that come about. And then from there, hopefully we can patch them up quickly as a team. So, it's tough, man. I don't know what the Lakers really are looking at in regards to really anything. I mean, hopefully they've been practicing some. Obviously, the All-Star break has pulled them away from one another. But, this is with the short window of time. It's all about guys learning. And then from there, applying what they've learned in practice. And so I don't know if this team is a team that's been said to have not practiced much. I don't think they can afford to let these next 23 games go without them having very regular scheduled practices. And I think that would be something that they would consider a priority at this point. A lot has been said about the Lakers and what it is that their deficiencies have been in the past with shooting the ball and things of that nature. But as we're saying, with new players in place, you don't want to be learning on the fly. You do not want to be learning on the fly, and you certainly don't want to be implementing experimental stuff in real game action with these type of pressures on the line. So if the team is serious about accomplishing its goal, I think the intent on repetitive practice and communication amongst these new players is kind of where the gold is going to be found. I really believe that. If they skip practices or don't necessarily get that continuity going amongst themselves, they won't get anywhere. Because what you got to understand is that teams all over the Western Conference are dealing with the same thing. And so that they're going to have to be intent on implementing that formula, understanding that each other are trying to implement that formula in one way or another. So it's like it's not just you trying to get better, in last minute. You got Phoenix doing it. You got Dallas doing it. You got Denver, got some new players. You know what I mean? You got the Clippers doing it. So it's like that should create a keen level of focus for all of those teams if they have their head on straight, as to where gelling is even more so important than ever before, because everybody's gelling. You don't know who is doing it right. You don't know who is going to figure it out. So it's like each of us had better be intent on getting it right, not only for ourselves, but for the fact that others are doing so as well. So I think it's important. We're looking at all these things that we're saying. If the Lakers have if they can find themselves in a position to be the best team at this, we have the roster to beat teams. I'm not looking at any of these Western Conference teams and saying they can beat us if we're doing what it is that we feel we can do. We have the shooting to match up with anybody. And that's what makes me feel really excited, because that's not something I could have said 2 weeks ago. But with Malik Beasley healthy and obviously D'Angelo Russell in place as well, I'm not afraid of teams that can shoot. I'm not afraid of them at all. So this is something that excites me a lot. It's something that the Lakers haven't been able to say in a long time. And man, I just want to salute Rob Pelinka right now for just bringing in those shooters. Mo Bamba as well. I can't wait to see what he's going to be able to do once his shot starts to fall, and the shot blocking prowess that he provides the team, the high upside potential that he has, given the fact that he just did not have a role with the team that he's been with his entire career, and the injuries that kind of piled up with him not being able to kind of fill out his body early enough for what it is that they were asking him to do early on. But when he did find himself healthy, he's done some big play stuff, double doubles and blocks. So I already know what he can do. It's a lot more than what we're expecting. And so for me, it's like, all right, I know that's a starter in this league at some point. We just got to keep developing him. And, I'm excited. I think the Lakers knocked it out of the park. As I've said before, Vanderbilt is one of my favorite players. I'm looking to learn more about him, but he's already shown me that he's somebody we need to keep for many, many years. And so re-signing him should be a priority at the end of next season, I guess, or whatever, what have you. I don't anticipate the Lakers are going to be trading him the next deadline. That's for damn sure. It's an expiring contract. So, I'm just super excited about him. We just got to keep everybody healthy. And if we do that, boy, You know, the possibilities are endless for this roster, with the pest that we can have down there in the front court with Vanderbilt, AD, and Bamba, and Braun, and Hachimura, Troy Brown, Wenyen Gabriel. I mean, the possibilities now are endless with the type of depth that the Los Angeles Lakers currently has on this roster. I don't know if many people are as happy with their depth as I am as a fan. At this point, I don't see anybody on this roster that I don't want to play. And that is something that I'm so very, very, very proud to say in this camera right now. I can't think of anybody, and I mean anybody, on this roster that must not play at all. Like, none of them. Who's the worst guy on the roster? Dennis Schroeder, Lonnie Walker? Like, none of them suck at all, you guys. Nobody. I guess you just have to say by default, Devon Reed, because we just haven't seen him play. But I'm not ready to tell you he's our worst player when, from what I understand, he's a fantastic lockdown and he can shoot the three. I'm not sure he is our worst player. So that's another guy that I think is unknown. But to be unknown has never been a deterrent to some, the upside of the possibilities of a guy, Some may say Max Christie might be our worst guy. If Max Christie is my worst guy, I'm happy as hell, because that's somebody I had no interest in trading at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that's my worst player, I'm on cloud nine. So, to say that this team is good, it's exactly what I want it to be. It's what I want it to be. A lot of people are excited about bringing in a guy like Zach LaVine or Bradley Beal or a contract like that. If we could afford them, if we could bring those guys in on an affordable contract that makes sense for us, of course, I'm happy to bring in any super level talent to help make the team better. That's just, yeah, of course. But that's not how it works. When you bring in guys with contracts that are so expensive, it makes it so that you can't bring other talent around them. And then from there, you don't really have that effect that you're looking for when you bring them stars together. And so that's what we were trying to do with Westbrook at $47 million. And it didn't make any sense. So we got rid of that contract, turned it into several guys that are of that level that they should be. When you have $47 million worth of NBA, talent, it should look a little more like what we have instead of just one person. And let that be a person who can play at that level too, not just a guy who's going to come in and not necessarily give you what it is you're asking for. So, hey, happy Laker fan here, man. Happy we're here in this position. I understand we're not souped up to explode past the league, and when you have three super level superstars, of course, the possibility of you doing that increases if you can find diamonds in the rough on your bench that overachieve to no end and ultimately give you the depth that would otherwise not be there. Then you're relying upon those three players to stay healthy with that bench. And if from that, at that point, if all that aligns, you could win every year if all of that works out. But it's just not something you can really count on when you consider the field has so much depth, so many young, heavy bodies, that you're eventually going to have to match up with stilts and guys that are, 6'10", 250, that you're just going to get pushed out the way. And you can't guard those 6'10", 250 guys because of how the game is being officiated. So you're not, even if you're ready to body up and be physical with them, throw your Vanderbilt player at them, that Vanderbilt's going to pick up 2 quick fouls. You're going to have to sit them because those guys are going to go to the line real quick just off their name. So when you consider all of these things, and you know that that's what you're dealing with, foul trouble is such a big deal in this league, you do not want to be relying upon three players, even if they're superstars who can give you 60 points apiece. You're never going to have them on the floor that long, and you're relying on them too much to play defense, which is really, in this league, a very, very, very difficult thing to do. So, you can try to go that 3-star route, but you have to remember that it's just 3 people at the end of the day. It is 3 humans, no matter how great they are, what they do. They get pushed around. So we're reaching the Kobe minute. Salute to him, of course. Given the fact this is a Laker chat video, we always want to do that. But, at the end of the day, where we are at this moment is in a space where we're happy with our squad. We're living in the present moment. We understand that we want to get this done for Bron. And, You know, there's not going to be any conversations about what happens in the off season right now. You know, yeah, the future is ahead. We got some things to consider, but I think we've settled ourselves in regards to our sentiment about the front office, our sentiment about the future, our sentiment about all these different things. We're centered in the understanding that in the short term, the Los Angeles Lakers have an opportunity to win a championship just as much as any other team in the Western Conference. I don't think any of these teams should scare the Lakers after the trades that they've made. It's just about us getting to the playoffs, taking care of business here in the regular season. And then from there, you know, working the principles that we learn over the next 23 games. You know, working against the tendencies that may flare up over the next 23 games that'll teach us who we are. You know, if we can get all that under control, be the best team that we can be, it's up to AD and Bron. Break teams down, you know, do what you got to do and give us the best chance to win. You know, that's it. That's all that Genie could do for these guys, is give them the best possible team to go out there and compete. Then from there, it's just on them. It's whether or not they're going to be able to deliver for their franchise, you know. And so I'm excited to see what they can do, even though they're dealing with their injuries. I like our chances if we could just stay healthy, because our bench right now is as good as anybody's. I mean anybody's. We just got to find a way to make sure that the right people are on the floor at the right time and the right combinations. That is the challenge for our franchise. You know, Darvin Ham, we mentioned a lot. I'm not going to bash him in this particular video. I'm trying to dance around it. But that's really what it is. We just need to continue to see the right players on the floor at the right time and the right combinations. If he's leaning on the right folks and everybody stays healthy, we're home free. I like our chances. But if any of that doesn't fall into place, you know, as I've often said in regards to this unit, we're playing for next season, you know. And that's not, I guess that's a lot better than what I would have said if we wouldn't have made those trades. So you like where you're at, but you definitely understand that this LeBron James thing, you got to get it right now for him. So that is the thought. That is my Laker chat video for the day. I'm sure there's something else I want to add to this video. There's plenty. I know it is. But I think I'll just leave it for now and sign on out. So that's what I got, man. My name is BDF44. I thank you all for watching, and I'm out.